in the early 1890s. Now, we actually have the diary. We have the diary of Adie Pear Mitchell's diary. Now, Addie had some other boyfriends back in the early 90s. There was these two people in front. I think one of them was Addie's boyfriend at the time, and Homer was sitting in the back. He was the only one that was dark. The rest of them were white. This was around I think they got married in 1894, actually, 1894. Addie sort of, got rid of all her other boyfriends, and she just threw herself at Homer's feet, so to speak. And Homer said, I think I'm going to buy a farm out in Westford, Mass, because I have this little kind of thing on this farm, and if you marry me, we can go out and live in the country and get out of this awful city. He bought that farm, and they moved there after my father was born. Let's see, they didn't, yeah. My father was 1896, and let's see, 1898, 1896. Yeah, 1898 was my aunt. They actually moved to Westford, I think it was 1898, right? So my father was 2 years old. They have a picture of the two of them, of my father and his younger sister, Marjorie. They're on top of this house in Cambridge, and they have their picture being taken. You can even see the grit on the top of the house, and and there they are, sitting, the two of them, little babies. No, Homer had these connections in Cambridge. He moved out to Westford, then he went back. My father was like 4 years old or 3 years old, and Marjorie was 1 year old.
Wow.
And that must have been kind of tough on them. They bought this farm. I don't know how they got the money, where the hell they got it.
I know.
And then my grandfather, he had these connections in Cambridge.
And Cuba.
No, Cuba came much later. That's my grandfather. Your grandfather, my father, was the one that went to Cuba, right?
Yeah.
So, but Homer used to drive back and forth into Cambridge to work on this candy factory. Rich guy, And you edit that out, Kate, will you? The guy's name was Rice, and they owned a candy factory. And my poor grandfather would drive in. We have a postcard that he sent from Cambridge to my grandmother.
Would he be gone during the week or something?
Yeah, I think so. It was just like today, you commute to Los Angeles or something, And back then, it was commuting to Cambridge from Westford. It was like it takes you half a day to just drive there, right? And then it was in the early 30s when he had an accident with his Model T Ford in Westford. He fell asleep at the wheel, and the Model T Ford went off the road, and he hurt his leg, I think. It's in my mother's diary, I think. And but he wasn't, injured too badly. But so the poor bastard used to have to go back and forth because he tried to raise raspberries. Edit that out, yes. He tried to raise raspberries, and raspberries were a great crop. But the only trouble is they're so weather dependent.
Yes.
You get everything ready. The raspberries are ripe. They're perfect, ready to be plucked. And then what happens?
It rains.
You know, Nat. It
rains.
Fucking rains.
Yeah.
Edit that out, Kate. And then my grandfather, he would go bonkers. I think I remember my mother used to say, "Oh, this is terrible," God.
And meanwhile, Marty and his mother and father had to come back from Cuba and live with this man, who wasn't too happy.
No, he was not a happy man. Let's put it that way. He wasn't a happy man. The poor bastard. Well, his wife died when he had these 4 kids, and he had to bring them up. And
so Sarah died. Addie died.
When she was 44. She died of appendicitis.
Oh.
Her appendix burst before she got to the Lowell General Hospital.
Oh, God.
And everyone, they used to depend on, he was the only doctor around. They had to depend upon him. And yet, there was some suspicion that he might have actually been a Catholic,
Oh, God.
But they didn't know.
Although they didn't want to believe that he actually was one. Because he lived right in the heart of Westford Center.
And did not go to church anymore.
No, he didn't go to church, so I wonder what that meant. No, I don't think he was anything, actually. No, I shouldn't put him down, because he was
a man of
he was
science.
respected. He was sort of a salt of the earth doctor. and he probably, you know, worked awful hard with these people. You know. He sort of screwed up in the case of my grandmother. I mean, he said to her, "Oh, you just have a stomach ache. It's no problem." Well, she actually had appendicitis, you know,
Oh,
and died.
so sad.
You know. And then he had these 4 kids, and my father was 18 years old, and then my Aunt Marjorie was 16, and then Morton was probably 14, and Gordon 12, something like that. You know.
Gordon was younger.
Yeah. So that was an awful freaking shock to them. And I think my father hadn't quite graduated from high school at the time. So, I mean, this is an awful blow to him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he was the most extroverted one. I mean, my Uncle Gordon, the youngest, was the, you know him, right? Good old Gordon.
The
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah, he was the big
Well,
hero.
and Mort, too, was the mouth.
And I haven't finished my turkey.